Hello, everyone. Welcome to Facebook Live Wednesday. So today I am going to talk about opening your heart and why that's important and what we do to close our heart down. So an open heart means that we're not keeping anything blocked in our body, in our energy flow. And so why is this important? Because when we have blocks, that really causes us to feel so lethargic, unmotivated, tired. And then we may have some emotions like anger, sadness. So when we have a feeling, so let's say we're driving down the road and we have a reaction to someone cutting us off and we get angry. That's a trigger. That's actually triggering anger that's already stored in your heart. And when I say your heart, I'm not actually talking about your physical heart. I'm talking about your emotional body, which is right here in your heart. It's actually in two places in your body. We do a practice in hypnotherapy called finding your felt sense. And your felt sense is below your shoulders and above your waist. And that's where we store our emotions in our heart and our belly. And so when we pay attention to those areas of our body, we can usually tap into how we feel. So that anger, so let's say we felt anger and we felt it come up. We could yell and scream and blame the other person. That would be expressing or acting out on the anger. Or we could just let it be. And I'm going to talk a little bit more in a few minutes about how do we do that? How do we just let it be? But let's talk a little bit about what is opening the heart. And what is the heart, this emotional body? The emotional body is the subconscious mind. I've talked to you a lot about the subconscious mind. You're going to hear this over and over again because this part of our mind is the part that's unconscious, right? It's below our conscious awareness. And that part of us, thank you, whoever's here. I'm glad that you're here. Excuse me. So that part of our mind is unconscious. We don't know what's in there. But when our emotions are flowing, that's when the subconscious mind is open. So if we feel depressed and anxious, that means that we're pushing down our feelings. And how do we deal with that? Excuse me. So let me tell you how do we get here? How do we get to this point? So as a kid, life happens, right? Things happen to us when we're a kid. So so when pleasant things happen, like we go on a trip as a family and we have a good time, those kinds of memories just flow right through us. So we felt happy, we were excited. Those emotions flow right through us. But when something negative happens that's caused us pain or hurt, then that does not just go right through us. We actually hold on to it. It becomes forefront in our mind. It's like the caveman. When the caveman saw something pleasant, he might have acknowledged it, but that just flowed right through him. But if a tiger attacked him and he lost his leg, he's like, I got to remember that. So that memory is now forefront in the mind. So then what's the next thing you do? So as a kid, so you have this situation that's happened to you. It has caused you pain. And you can't do what typically would happen. You can't fight with your parents all the time. You can't make them do what you want them to do. So what do? You internalize that. You begin to take it inside. And you also remember that memory. Don't do that again because it causes us pain. So now you're avoiding and suppressing these emotions. So if you were beaten, you might form a belief that you're not important or you're unworthy or not deserving or unlovable, right? So all those are beliefs that are formed from that one memory. So then we form these beliefs, and those beliefs then lead to emotions, and those emotions are sadness. And when sadness and hurt is not addressed, it leads to fear, right? It's fear that this is going to happen again. So then we have the fear. And then if it's not resolved, the fear can turn into anger. And beyond anger is hate and rage. You see the evolution of how this one memory formed beliefs. You formed a belief about yourself. You have emotions around that. And so what happens is we have suppressed that, right? We've either repressed it, meaning that we don't remember it. It was so traumatic that we didn't want to remember, that we repressed it. So there's no memory of it. Or we can suppress it. So we're aware of it, but we sort of push it away. We don't really acknowledge that it's really affecting us today. So those are the two ways that you could deal with an emotion or a situation. However, you can't really ever suppress or repress. It's like holding a balloon underwater. It always finds a way back up. And that's what life does, right? Life is pushing this up. But what happens is it pushes it up and we don't handle it properly. We either suppress it, repress it, push it away, act out. So we get angry, we scream, or yell. This is how we're dealing with it. And it's not the healthy way to heal your blocks. So what do we do with it? So we have the memory. So we have the event that led to the belief about yourself. The belief led to negative emotions. Those emotions lead to the behavior. So we try to make ourselves feel good by using food, by using alcohol, drugs. Maybe we feel sad, we'll call someone to feel better. So there's lots of ways strategies that we have to avoid how we really feel. So what do we do? So there's really three things you can do with the blocks in your heart. You can suppress them, which is to push them away, ignore them, act like they're not there. You can act them out. Now, this will really make a mess of your life. So if you're yelling and screaming at your partner because you're upset, that's not going to create a bridge it's not going to help you in your relationship, right? So there's suppression and there's acting out. Those two things I highly do not recommend. But the third thing is to just be with them. And so how do I do that, right? How do I just be with the emotion? Well, one of the things that we can do is sort of detach from the emotion. So rather than saying, I'm sad, which means I am sad, it says, I am feeling sad. So it's one step removed from the actual emotion, right? So you're detaching your character from the emotion. So that's one way that you can do it. Another thing that you can do is is to breathe. So what we do when we have emotions coming up, there are two things that we do, and this is another way that we comfort ourselves. We stop breathing, right? Because when you're breathing, things are flowing, right? So we stop breathing and we tense up our bodies. So to be with the emotion is to breathe. Yes, take a deep breath. Yes, so that's how you're going to just be with it rather than acting out on it and suppressing it. And the third part of that is meditation. Meditation is probably the most important thing that you can do to clear the blockages in your heart. And you want to clear these blockages because they're keeping you stuck, right? You don't feel joyful. You don't feel happy. You don't feel content. You're uncomfortable. So when we block these emotions and we keep these blockages in our heart, it actually, people who can read energy, there's darkness. There are these dark channels in our energy field, our chakra system. Those blackness, those dark spots are blockages. And as you begin to clear them, which means you're just being with them, you're not suppressing them or expressing them. When you just be with them, those channels begin to clear up and you have more energy flowing through your body. It's a much more enjoyable life when your heart is free. And remember, this is a lifelong journey. We all have stuff. Everyone has stuff, unless you're a fully realized being. And there are some on the planet, but I'm not one of them. This is a lifelong journey. So I have done a tremendous amount of hypnotherapy around my blockages, and yet I still have things come up that I have to work on. So it is a lifelong journey. So meditation is key, finding that quiet place. And so one of the ways, so I don't know what your meditation practice is. There's a couple of things that I would suggest, but you want to begin to try to come into that place of stillness. You don't want to try to control your mind. That will absolutely drive you crazy, and you won't meditate because that's very frustrating. So you just want to let those thoughts float by, right? Thought comes in, float by, but you're going to come back to sort of a central focus. A lot of people use the breath, so focusing on breathing in and out. That is one way to keep yourself focused. If you find your mind wanders off, you let that thought go and you come right back to watching your breath. You can do it from a count, 1 up to 10, like 1, 2, so up as and the inhale and the exhale you're counting. Another thing you could do is a mantra. So on the inhale you can say I am, and on the exhale, peace. I am peace. And do it for 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. It can be 5 minutes of just quiet time, counting your breath, repeating a mantra, and that begins to clear it out. Now, I will warn you, sometimes when you do this, it will start to push these things up. So when they come up, don't think, oh no, I'm doing something wrong. No, you're doing it exactly right. It's like holding the balloon under the water. Life is pushing this up for healing. So when it comes up and you just be with it, so you breathe into it, you relax your body, breathe, relax the body, allow it to be, detach from it a little bit. Instead of I am sad or I am angry, I'm feeling angry. Those things absolutely will clear the blockages in your heart. And remember, you want this. Your natural state is peace. We are most comfortable in peace. And the way to peace is to keeping an open, clear heart. And then and you can go even further, you can go to a therapist. So a therapist is going to facilitate this process of clearing out your blockages. So what this person do, myself as a hypnotherapist, is I'm guiding you into clearing and healing. And my job is to become obsolete in your life. I don't want to be your therapist forever. I want you to get well, right? I want you to heal. So the goal of any therapist is to get you to the place of healing so that you can have this life that you want, this amazing life of happiness and joy. I promise you it is available. You can have energy to do the things you love. You will be motivated to pursue your dreams. And it will give you confidence. You'll feel more self-assured. So I really, really encourage you to meditate, breathe, relax the body. Those are the 3 things you can do to open your heart. If you want to go even deeper, work with a therapist like myself. That speeds up the process tremendously because you're accelerating the clearing process. It can be painful, true, but it's already there. The pain is already there. It's already running your life. This is just getting it up to the surface for release. And you can do that through the tools that I just told you about. You can do that faster if you want to work with a therapist. But either way, life is pushing this up for healing, and you can do it. So I hope that you find this helpful. Again, 3 things you can do. Breathe, relax your body, meditate. Those are the 3 things for keeping your heart open for love, open to giving and experiencing the world in this most beautiful way. I also wanted to just finish up and tell you about my group program that's coming up on November 13th. It's 5 weeks together, an hour and a half each night. It's Tuesday nights. And during those times together, will be a little bit of a talk like this, and then we're going to do a group hypnosis where it's going to be so rewarding. It will clear out the blocks. It will have you. Now, you may have some things come up, which is a good thing through our 5 weeks, but I find that 5 weeks is a good enough time for us to bring up what's keeping us stuck and clear it and heal it. So this 5-week program, you can find it here on my Facebook page under events. It's so reasonably priced, $197 for 5 weeks, an hour and a half each week, and we'll be doing group hypnosis together. There'll be recordings that you can listen to after our time together. You can keep everything. You have full access to the recorded sessions as well as the meditations. So I hope you'll check it out. I think I'm just offering this because I truly believe that this process of clearing and personal development just brings you to this place of love and peace and joy that, I don't know any other way to get there except to just keep going, keep doing it. So I hope you found this enjoyable and interesting and helpful. That is my goal, is to be of service to you, to be helpful to you. And I hope that you will come join my group program. You can also go to my website, patriciamusi.com. There you can schedule a free session with me where I'll do hypnosis with you, and I can tell you about some of the other things I'm doing. So have a great Wednesday afternoon or evening, wherever you are, and I will see you next week. Take care.